Hello everyone, this is RW, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Priest, Major, and Minor Glyphs. Okay, we have Circle of Healing for Holy Spec. Your Circle of Healing spell heals one additional target, but its mana cost is increased by 35%. Dark Binding for Shadow. You can now cast Prayer of Mending, Renew, and Leap of Faith without canceling Shadow form. Desperation for Discipline and Holy. It allows Pain Suppression and Guardian Spirit to be cast while stunned. Dispel Magic. Your Dispel Magic spell also damages your target for X holy damage when you successfully dispel a magic effect. Dispersion for Shadow reduces the cooldown of Dispersion by 15 seconds. With Fade, your Fade ability now also reduces all damage taken by 10%. With Fear Ward, it reduces the cooldown and duration of Fear Ward by 60 seconds. Holy Fire for Discipline and Holy, your Holy Fire spell is now instant cast. Holy Nova, it teaches you the Holy Nova ability, which causes an explosion of holy light around the caster, causing X holy damage to all enemies within 10 yards, and healing up to 5 targets within 10 yards for X. Healing is divided among the number of targets healed, and these effects cause no threat. Inner Fire increases the armor gained from your Inner Fire spell by 50%. Inner Focus for Discipline spec. When you cast Inner Focus, you become immune to silence, interrupt, and dispel effects for 5 seconds. With Inner Sanctum, spell damage taken is reduced by 6%, while within Inner Fire, and the movement speed bonus of your Inner Will is increased by 6%. With Leap of Faith, your Leap of Faith now also clears all movement impairing effects from your target. Levitate increases your movement speed while levitating and for 10 seconds afterwards by 15%. Lightwell for Holy Spec, it increases the total amount of charges of your Lightwell by 2. Mass Dispel reduces the cast time of Mass Dispel by 1 second. Mind Blast for Shadow Spec, when you critically hit with your Mind Blast, you cause a target to become unable to move for 4 seconds. Mind Spike, which is also for Shadow, when you deal damage with Mind Spike, the cast time of your next Mind Spike is reduced by 50%. This lasts 6 seconds and stacks up to 2 times. Penance for Discipline, it increases the mana cost of Penance by 20%, but allows Penance to be cast while moving. Power Word Shield, 20% of the absorbed from this ability is converted into healing. And Prayer of Mending, the first charge of your Prayer of Mending heals for an additional 60%, but your Prayer of Mending has 1 fewer charge. Psychic Horror for Shadow Spec, it reduces the cooldown of this ability by 10 seconds. Psychic Scream, targets of your Psychic Scream and your Siphone's Psychic Terror now tremble in place instead of fleeing in fear. Purify for Discipline and Holy Specs, your Purify spell also heals your target for 35% of max health when you successfully dispel a magic effect or disease. Reflective Shield, it causes 45% of the damage you absorb with Power Word Shield to reflect back at the attacker. This damage causes no threat. Renew. Your Renew heals for 33% more each time it heals, but its duration is reduced by 3 seconds. Scourge Imprisonment reduces the cast time of Shackle Undead by 1 second. And Smite. For Discipline and Holy Spec, your Smite spell inflicts an additional 20% of the damage against targets afflicted by Holy Fire. Spirit of Redemption, it increases the duration of this ability by 10 seconds. With Light Spring for Holy Spec, it turns your Light Well into a Light Spring. Every 1 second, the Light Spring will attempt to heal a party or raid members lower than 50% health for X over 5.32 seconds. Attacks done to the target equal to 30% of your total health will cancel the effect. Light Spring lasts for 3 minutes or until 15 heals are expelled. Mind Flay for Shadow Spec, your Mind Flay spell no longer slows your victim's movement speed. Instead, each time Mind Flay deals damage, you will be granted 15% increased movement speed for 5 seconds, which stacks up to 3 times. With Shadow Word Death, your Shadow Word Death can now be cast at any time, but deals 25% damage against targets above 20% health. Casting this spell now also does damage to you equivalent to the damage it would do to an enemy above 20% health. and Vampiric Embrace for Shadow Spec, it converts an additional 50% of the damage you deal into healing, but the duration is reduced by 5 seconds. And those are your major glyphs. Now let's take a look at the minors. Borrowed Time for Discipline. Your borrowed time is now displayed visually. Dark Archangel for Shadow. When you apply Devouring Plague to a target, you take the form of a Dark Archangel for 8 seconds. Shackle Undead changes the appearance of your Shackle Undead. Shadow for Shadow Spec. It alters the appearance of your Shadow form to be less transparent. And Shadow Ravens for Shadow Spec. Your Shadow Orbs now appear as Shadow Ravens. Confession teaches the Confession ability, which compels a friendly target to confess a secret. Heavens, your Levitate targets will now appear to be riding on a cloud for the duration of the spell. And with Holy Resurrection, your Resurrection targets appear bathed in holy light for the duration of the cast. Shadowy Friends, your Shadow form extends to your non-combat pets. And the Valkyr, while Spirit of Redemption is active, you now appear as a Valkyr. And those are your major and minor glyphs for the Priest class for World of Warcraft Mist of Pandaria. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.